Of course, they have lots of tools. They have things like Falstead not really picking Dehaka too much, and even Rich's Dehaka was not perfect, as we saw from game number 1. So let's see what kind of drafting style they want to bring out in game number 2, and how they react against MVP Black.
Well, let's find out. As that fly is driving me crazy, man. I just want to get rid of him. He's over there. He's just resting. He's looking at us. He's teasing us. All right, let's see how the draft goes through here.
We need a Dragon Knight here.
Dragon Knight just
fly.
cues the fly, burns to death. I hope so. As like everyone in the studio dies too. I'm like, oh, maybe not a good idea. Look, they banned the Genji here. I think RRR, it might even be wise to first pick Dehaka. Dehaka is one of the reasons why they lost out so much in the early game, even lost Abathur there. After losing that first fight, they got so much extra soak from him, which gave 10 to Black, which meant they could force that fight at 10 at the keep. So I think picking up Dehaka early, I think, is a great way to take the macro lead in the game, if you're confident enough to do that, if you're RRR.
I think taking Genji away from Reset Sands is a very smart choice indeed for every other team that's competing against MVP Black when it's open.
You give up the Garrosh when you do this.
Along with Uther, that's also a big factor.
Will we see Rich's first televised game of Garrosh now? As I think that's something the world would love to see.
Something about Kyocha, he actually prefers to play Malfurion over lots of other heroes, of course. So, with Stitches a little bit away from the top tier meta as Garrosh stepped in, I don't think we're going to see a lot of, or a lot less. I think we're going to see a lot less of Malfurion coming in, where Rehgar is a lot more higher on top. So they want to go with the Tastar. They want to have a lot more flexibility in their drafting. So they pick up the common tools, Tastar and Greymane.
Not as common as Uther Greymane, though. Kind of avoiding the Uther for now. Also allowing the pairing of the Dragon Blades for Genji.
This map actually... Kyocha played lots of Rehgars for the camp timings too, so I think they're slightly looking into balance a little bit of a divey comp along with the camp controls, so they can catch up or lead the macro in this map.
I wonder if we'll see a Black pickup on that note Tyrael as well for camp control and kind of going for invasion, controlling the flow of the game using the mercenary camps, because that's a really good point you mentioned with the Greymane picked up this early, but without the Uther, and they have the flexibility and the wave clear with Tastar. Also works very well at delaying the Dragon Knight. Something that isn't really talked about because it's just a basic tenet of the map, but Tastar is one of the best heroes in the game at delaying. So they are going to get the Dehaka and the Uther. I think RRR is drafting this as perfect as they can right now, given that Black didn't take the Uther away. They're like, oh yeah, Genji with Divine Shield seems pretty good. Dehaka pushing the lanes, yeah, seems pretty good.
I think Black is fine with this strat coming out from RRR. They still have Rehgar. They knew that either one was going to be taken away from the other side. They could also ban the other one if it was not taken, so I still think MVP Black has a little slight lead into this draft. They still need to show what their main damage, and oftentimes they give a lot of their power and put a lot of their resources to have Rich win lane. Win lane, win game, that was their strategy since the moment Rich came in, but since Eastern Class especially, it did not work so great against all the other stronger Korean teams. And we see a lot of the 3-man rotations on top for the gank to get the kill around between 5 to 7 minutes. It happens every single time on this map.
Especially when the solo laner is winning the lane. That's where he's most vulnerable
and
too.
And by now, all the other teams know that MVP Black's style is to be like that, to take down the fort early game on top, to have that top try and control. But Dehaka is on the other side. Maybe Black should be... I don't think Tyrael ban was the perfect one.
I actually don't think so either.
I actually would love to have... for them to pick Tyrael.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. I thought it was a great draft for them to run the Tyrael. And this puts them in an awkward position because I thought they highlighted the Muradin. I was like, okay, this leads to Tyrael. You dominate the Warriors. Then they highlighted the Li Ming for a second. I was like, okay, well, that's kind of pushing us to a mirror draft. You're targeting EGZ's hero pool. But now it's like they just don't want to deal with invulnerability. But they've already given up the Uther.
So look at Rich's face. Not Rich, Reset's face. This drafting style, the ban, seems similar. This is what exactly Tempest did against MVP Black in Eastern Clash. They targeted Rich's hero pool, taking Dehaka away already. So here comes Garrosh. I think we are going to see Rich on that Garrosh. I think all they need is a little bit more damage, possibly just the Liming to just end the draft.
I think Liming would be a great way to end the draft, but it might be taken away from them by EGT and RRR, because it would put the ability for Odok to play the Genji, then you have EGT on the Liming. The fall stat's still available, but they already have Dahaka, so I don't think it'll be necessary. Remember, EGT was criticized for her weak hero pool. It hasn't really changed too significantly throughout this tournament. We saw her play the Cassia, which looked decent, but not a hero you want in this draft necessarily. I wonder what the kind of thought process is going to be going into this one, because the Liming feels predictable, and it's always going to be a risk to take when you're up against this comp that has Garrosh that can Wrecking Ball you, into a horrible position.
KT? I think...
KT, she's always played it on this map, but
so because Black can dive too much, Nazeebo, they want to go for the late game. They do have the rotational work. Okay. They have some CCs and the damage. The last one, we're not sure which one yet.
I just feel like that puts us in a position with this hero that has no escapes and has fallen out of the meta because of that. Against a Garrosh in the tri-lane, it's going to be so difficult in the 4-man rotation down bot mid. And the Nazeebo is going to struggle. Genji is going to struggle. You can't punish plays with the Genji when you have Garrosh on the other side, because if you dash in, it'll be the last dash you do. Black is now looking for their main tank, you have to imagine. We talked about how they could grab the Liming as their 5th pick. It would be good, I'd say, balance in the draft, but it means I would have Garrosh as a solo tanker. With double support, it absolutely could work. So they have to make a choice.
I think they have to go to double DPS. I don't think Rich will be playing Garrosh actually.
It's going to be Sonya.
Yes. Then it has to be Rich playing Sonya this time. So Garrosh, of course, going to Tust. And Greymane, I think Reset will be flexing in there.
We knew we needed a solo laner. It wasn't going to be Garrosh, so Sonya is going to be the top laner here, and will likely face off against Dahaka there. It's going to be an exciting one to see who wins out there. The goal for RRR is going to be delay, delay, delay. Win the late game. Use the slow damage of Nazeebo to burn down heroes to get resets for very likely Odok on the Genji. So guys, we're going to go into game number 2 now on Dragonshire to find out if this draft for RRR is going to tie us up. In blue, MVP Black, Reset on Greymane, Sake on Taster, Kyocha on Rhaegar, Rich on Sonya, and Tist on Garrosh.
And in red, RRR. Odok on Genji, MSG on Uther, EZZ on Nazeebo, Kong on Dehaka, and take a look on Muradin.
Okay, Odok's going in early. We've seen this happen against Garrosh before. Very risky move.
Yes. We've seen this kind of draft, and I mentioned during the Queencast that this is a big weakness, actually, having Rich in the team. If Rich is not willing to change his hero pool a little bit more like this. This time he went for Sonya. They took a lot of time. I think it can work pretty well, but if they target ban Rich's hero pool so many times just like this, I think RRR had a really nice approach against Black. They learned from Tempest what they did back in Eastern Clash. Almost a decent answer, but let's see how well Rich can play Sonya in the win lane here.
Let's also see how well Tist plays the Garrosh. So far he hasn't had any huge Wrecking Ball opportunities, but it's a 1-lane in top versus the Dahaka. RRR is just playing very passively. I actually love how they're playing this. they're basically, even at the level 1 fight, they didn't even take it. They weren't even interested. Sure, Oduk had the risky jump in, but beyond that, they've played super passive. And that's the goal, is to survive to 20 without losing any keeps. If they can do that, then it's a great position for them.
But not if they lose all the pressure in the lane and lose the Dragon Knight. Dragon Knight will be pushing in, so they need to go in. They look for the kills.
They do.
That's the first one. Oduk may look for more, and he's diving in.
Okay, there's the stun here onto Tist, but he gets the toss. Close call there. Tekaluk will get the heals on the Muradin here. Rich will win the top lane eventually with the Tassadar rotation up. So, I mean, realistically it was done before that. So RR gets the pick. They have to Hearth home. Ooh, close call here. If that zombie wall hits, it's a different story, but EGZ gets picked. Maybe? Oh my god. Okay.
Oh,
one
minion!
Auto. Actually, yeah, it was the minion.
Yeah.
It was the minion, the archer minion. Not
Is her OP? Wish sometimes I was a minion like that.
Well, MSG's in trouble.
Oh, barely gets. Ooh, Tekaluk was so low.
Wow.
Ouch.
So what was great at the beginning is now a rough spot for RR. Kong struggling in the solo lane. And it's going to be a channel here. We'll see if the Unleash goes off. Muradin's there to contest. We always knew that one of the liabilities for this comp would be the Nazeebo against the Garrosh. I think they have to continue to play passive. They won a fight, and then what did they do? They instantly went aggro. They got picked.
Yep.
They need to be passive in these moments. Know where to fight their battles. Take the defensive ones, not the aggressive ones. Even after getting a pick, even after being slightly ahead, you have to respect the Garrosh here. Because even if you go aggro and you trade 1-for-1 even, then you're losing the top lane because Sonya's there, which is a problem. I feel like they could commit even more resources to dealing with that. Not right now, not while the Dragon Knight is active, but Black is just whittling away at them, looking for the faster 10 to lead to that second Dragon Knight that gets them the keep, which is basically the win condition for MVP Black.
Yep, and they have all the tools, and they started with the strong lane. I think Sonya was a very good pickup for Rich. I think he's extending his boundaries. As, of course, he can play lots of heroes, and he's really good as he's known as one of the best players of Heroes of the Storm. But he does not have too many good records, or even having many records, many numbers on playing Sonya. I think it's been
not
a
in this,
while.
not in this time.
Not this year.
Not since
for
2016
sure. Yes.
summer, but not this year for sure. That was a massive cocktail hit there. So one of those things that's like, you know, you just get so satisfied by it, mildly satisfying. Cocktail. Halfway to level 9, and finally the Rich Sonya pressure has been somewhat dealt with. This is the wave clear for Rhaegar you were talking about in the draft, which allows them to take this small win to get camps. Greymane takes the neutral cap, they're going to take blue side cap. We were talking about this around, you know, this timing, when you get a slight lead, they have the better wave clear. RR struggles to get their camp with 2 at the same time. And watch,
right after, when they clear the wave, they're going to go rotate top and look for the Haka kill and push that fort. Just watch it. It's very, very likely to happen. And
Tist doesn't have any escapes here, unfortunately, though. This is a better rotation, so
I guess not.
The thing that you were talking about is no longer possible, but they committed 5 men to this push. Sonya's going to go ahead and take the nightcap.
Can Oduk survive? That's a kill. If Oduk survived, maybe they could have turned that around, but I don't think so anymore.
That was just a greedy move when Black was clearly rotating around to try to catch them and protect these siege giants. He went down. So this is going to be a fort demolished. Rich gets the nightcap. By the time this cap is cleared, the wave is going to be pushed on his side of the lane so he can get the free soak. They got 10 anyways without it, so maybe he doesn't. He's going to head up there now, but he can actually clear this, and they can just look for the keep wall. Remember, win condition for Black here is to destroy a keep early on in the game. Pre-20 is the overall goal, but pre, say, 13, for example, is an insane lead for them, which would put RR in such a terrible position.
So Tekaluk's already here. He is always the first one, but he has to stay close to his teammates. Oh, no.
Okay, he does get away with the burrow, though. Taunt going off here. Look at the ancestral Tist. In good position, unfortunately, accidentally tosses the siege giant there. Could have been a better opportunity. They have the force wall available in 1 second, but look at what Rich is accomplishing in the top lane. It's not always about the bot lane, as Rich is just making sure they're ahead in EXP. He's PvEing up there, and this keep is so important. RR down on levels, don't have their heroics, but they can't let this keep go, or their entire comp means nothing.
And Meanwhile, Sonya has been pressuring onto the top wall, so they have two options, top lane, bottom lane. They just need to choose one now. And once the camps start to come back again, and that will be within the next minute or so, they can start their rotation again and push all the way in. I think they will be looking for those keeps right after.
Okay, getting the entire keep wall. Both of them damage on the keep. But still, RRR very much in this. They didn't lose the keep. That's the most important part. I mean, they want Tekluke so bad, but they're not going to get him. He's like, I'm murdering, guys, come on. It's like, have you seen with his armor? It's pretty good.
Oh, he gets pulled. I think that will be the end of HGC with the force wall right there. Sonya's not even here, along with the Haka. That's 4v4, but lots of protection. There's a Divine Storm. For the protection, MSG will, I guess, sacrifice his life for his teammates there.
Questionable Divine Storm lock-in as they get 4 kills now, or sorry, 3 kills now.
Morden stayed there for a long time.
But the Divine Storm means they can't use Dragon Blades to win team fights. And how are they going to win the game if they can't at least trade even in these fights where they're looking for the late game with Nazeebo? Oduk may be the next target here as Reset is hyper-aggressive. Did use Go for the Throat to try to secure that kill.
I don't think we'll be seeing level 20 Nazeebo tonight.
I don't think so either, G-Clap. With all 3 keep walls down at 7:30.
I think that was a panic storm to save his teammate, but it's going to cost him very, very big.
We always talk about these one split-second lock-ins where you have it in that one moment. It's 4 times as good as Divine Shield, but for the rest of the game, it's 1/4 as good. And now, I mean, the Dragon Knight's just going to march down. Or maybe even 1/10 as good. And now the Dragon Knight marches in with Siege Giants. This is already so much damage on the keep.
Okay. Some mad action with just throwing Reset into the keep, saying, go do more damage. There's a taunt and barely survived. Take a look. Does not have Avatar for 13 seconds, so has to tap onto the fountain, but the Dragon Knight is already onto the core. They may want to finish the game. Ancestral connects onto Tiz. They are going all in. Sonya is just whirlwinding and getting all those health back.
She still has her Fury to use here, and Oduk is trying to find something, anything he can. No Divine Shield to save him, though. The Dragon Knight expires, but Rich with a Poison Spear will take out EGD. That's house bird damage for you, Nazeebo, and Avatar used here to try to survive for Tekluke, but they are on the core. Thing is, you know, at the end of the day here, RRR survives, but the game is over because we didn't get close to 20. EGD was picked so many times, she never even really got slightly tanky on the Nazeebo. They're 4 levels down, potentially, and in fact, very likely to have the rare double talent tier disadvantage. The keep is gone. When you run this comp, you have to play more passively. You have to take the fights that you know you can win. You have to protect Tahaka in the top lane. You have to lane swap and deal with Rich on the Sonya. If you don't do these things, then Black just walks across the map and kills you, it feels like. And EGZ positioning has been overall good, but the coordination with the Garrosh to pick her off, the force walls we are seeing, the Ancient Spear accuracy we have for Rich here, it just feels like a massacre. They have painted the map blue, taking all available camps, and all Rich is going to do now is sit up here, clear the camp on the top, and say, yeah, actually, Wolf, it's the double talent tier advantage for us. 16 right now for MVP Black.
And they will be going in if they are up against 5 men, and Sonya is alone there. RRR does spot this, but against double talent down, there is no way they will go hard engage and even try to kill one of those heroes. This is just, it's a checkmate, I gotta say. It's almost impossible to escape from this checkmate. Rich is just standing here with the next Dragon Knight. They can just go for the next keeps, and Nazeebo, of course, went for spirits. Oh, my.
Spirit. I mean, desperate times call for desperate measures, G-Cluff, I suppose. Dragon Knight's going to walk down to the bot. Let's watch the last stand here for RRR. As more likely they're thinking about the draft for Game 3.
Stop.
That was a nice dodge by Oduk. They're burning down the Dragon Knight a little bit. 25% already gone. Trying to look at the positive side of things, trying to do the Disney cast here, but spoiler alert, this is not a happy ending. Tist is on the core. It's already slightly chipped down to 96 from the last fight. They're going to go ahead and target it down. Oduk trying to do what he can here with this Dragon Blade. The Divine Storm does connect here. That's going to be the pick. Onto Kyocha, no heals, but the Dragon Knight doesn't need heals, doesn't receive heals, doing so much damage to this core. Rich is on it as Sonya, and that is going to be the 2-0 lead for Black. They take the advantage going into match point.
Well done. I gotta say, just well done and well drafted. It pushed Rich off the comfort zone. RRR really had a way of drafting. Their approach against MVP Black, from what they had, was pretty decent. I gotta say it was pretty decent. If they had more cards available, except for Nazeebo, something like maybe a false stat, something to counter the team comp of MVP Black, maybe they could have shown a little bit better. But because of all the rotational work, having Greymane, Rehgar, and Sonya, their camp control is insane.
Yeah, and Rich just played a great Sonya, honestly, and we see very rarely the Sonya play in this meta, but when it's used in a situation like this, it just feels beautiful. I feel like RRR had to sacrifice a little bit of their aggression in the bot lane for the wins they took. Instead of trying to push the bot wall, they should have tried to relieve the Rich pressure, maybe force him to hearth home, make faster, swifter rotations, understanding that they had the worst wave clear at dealing with the bot pushes, understanding that they couldn't take the camps as quickly, and it all just kind of snowballed away from them at the end of the day when they were too aggressive.
Yeah, that's the thing when you said win lane, win Rich's lane, and win game. Even Tastar came up. Rich, he was not even losing game, but Tastar came up, giving him shield, giving him more power. Dehaka didn't do a thing in that game, for sure. No. Just tanked and soaked EXP a little bit. No really good tongue grabs or focusing at all. Just lost the lane too.
Sonya felt like the global hero in that game for how much she accomplished and just how much lane pressure she put with the split pushing, with the camp control that you were talking about, the solo camp, timing it perfectly to get the wave to get 16 there. Oh, so good by Rich. It's tough for RR. Remember, they're on a 5-game losing streak here already. They play back-to-back match days and against L5 and Black, both finalists of the Eastern Clash. It's a tough time, and they couldn't be reasonably expected to win this series. Taking a map would have been a great start, but it's not over yet. They have some time now to collect their thoughts and try to prepare a draft for Game 3. When we return after this 10-year break, we will see RRR versus MVP Black, potentially the last game of the night.